Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another fun episode of Hashtag Jeopardy Live Panel presented by thejeopardyfan.com. This is the online test special. Once again, I am Andy Saunders, and I've brought 5 people along to discuss the most recent online test. 4 of us have recently written in an attempt to get on the show, and one wrote for fun, but still wants to discuss things anyway with us, and I'm glad to have everyone. So first up, a welcome back to the founder of the JeopardyFan.com. Joining us on our panel once again, thanks for joining us, Jeanie Kenkel. And we also have returning to our panel, David Kendall from Winnipeg, Manitoba. From Houston, Texas, we have Stephen Mitzner, and from North Carolina, I can't remember where in North Carolina you are, Terrence, but Terrence Jordan. Those 4 have been on our panel before, and a newcomer to our panel. She, long-time listener, first-time panelist from Ottawa, Ontario, Jerie Shaw. Thank you all for joining us. So if we want to just go quickly, what nights? There were 3 online tests, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I wrote Tuesday. You wrote Tuesday as well. That's correct, Terrence?
No, I did yesterday's, Thursday.
You did Thursday, and
yeah.
Jerie and Stephen went Wednesday?
Correct.
Jeanie wrote Wednesdays for fun, and David also wrote Thursday.
Oh, well, I wrote Tuesday and Wednesday for fun and Thursday for real.
Okay. So once again, if you have any questions for our panel tonight regarding the online test, of course, use the hashtag Jeopardy Live panel. Actually, I have one already, so I'm just... Well, actually, no, I'm going to ask that in just a little bit. But first up for the panel, what goal had you set for yourself going into the test, and did you reach that goal? My goal was to get 35, and I did get, which I believe I got. I think I got it by 4, so...
Yeah, 35 is the commonly accepted path.
I, of course, was ineligible. I just took the test for fun, so I didn't really have a goal.
Okay.
Yeah,
I was glad I could make it in at all. I couldn't think of my password and username. Just barely made it. But
Jerie, what was your goal?
My goal was just to be as mediocre as possible. That's the goal I set for myself. To have someone look at my results and think, wow, this person has just a completely average level of general knowledge. So I think I achieved my goal. I was really proud. Yeah.
Okay. Stephen, Terrence.
My goal was 40, but I think I only got to about 35. Wednesday was a tough test. I was looking at Tuesday and Thursday. Tuesday I did about the same, and Thursday I think I would have probably hit that. So just depends on which day you take it.
Terrence?
I was hoping for 35. I know that's kind of the accepted cutoff number. I fell a little bit short. I think I got a 32. But this is my first time trying the actual test, so I was pretty happy with how I did. I did fairly well across most categories, and there are a couple that I am regretting I missed out on. I think I maybe could have got with a little more time, but pretty happy overall, even though I didn't quite make the goal.
Okay. Now, going into the experience, did you have any expectations about it? And did it match your expectations?
Yeah, I knew going into it that there would be, like each question was from a different category, so it really depended on having a broad base of knowledge. It wasn't like you could just be a specialist in whatever, Shakespeare or the Bible, and you could go through the test. You'd still be hung out to dry on 40-something questions. So I knew it was going to be pretty comprehensive. But yeah, it pretty much went about how I expected as far as the questions and the level of difficulty and everything.
Anyone else have any expectations?
The thing that I mean, I'm sure this is a common experience for everyone who writes a test for the first time, but the thing that was the hardest for me is just the 15-second pressure. Like, I felt like I just finished reading the question sometimes, then I was like, well, I have 3 seconds now to type something, so that's awesome. So yeah, I mean, that for me, the first time, that was the hardest part for sure.
That's part of the reason why it's been mentioned, and it's been mentioned on this panel too other times as well, is that do not press submit afterwards. It's because the 15 seconds goes by so quickly, and you could be pressing submit right at the end. I think one of the first times I wrote it, I've written it every year since 2009, and I think like one of the times early in my test writing experiences, I did press submit a couple of times and accidentally skipped a question. So yeah, because it just goes by so quickly.
Yeah, it really does. If you have an answer typed in, you don't hit submit, and the time runs out, does it submit whatever you have?
Yeah.
Automatically?
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
it
yes,
says
yes,
that
sure.
in the instructions somewhere.
Read the instructions. This is a thing that I should have done.
That's one of the things that they look for on the show, people who can follow directions, and that's why if they say jump, I say how high. Whatever it says in the directions, I do it to the letter. That's what they want on the show.
Okay. We actually have a question that's been submitted to us by, the handle is at OrangeJKel, and of course that is multiple-time Jeopardy champion Jason Keller. Did anyone else think the clues were generally too easy? And to that I say, heck no. I would probably say that 39 I got on Tuesday night was probably one of the more stressful experiences I've ever had in my entire life.
Oh.
Because I thought it was a more difficult test than I was used to writing. So that was at least my impression of it. I don't know if you guys felt the same way as to difficulty, but
Yeah, I've heard that Tuesdays was harder, but Wednesdays was not stressful. So
well, you're
I don't know if
writing
anybody
for
else
fun,
took the Wednesday test,
Jerie and Stephen did.
or if you can hear me.
I thought it was pretty stressful.
Yeah. I thought Tuesdays was easier than Wednesdays, personally. I mean, I did better
Which
on
Wednesday?
Tuesday.
She thought Tuesdays was easier than Wednesdays was.
Okay.
I got about 5 more
What
clues.
really surprised me.
Sorry,
What
David?
really surprised me about the difficulty level is just from seeing conversations on JBoard, on Facebook, and from my own experience too. At least from my experience, the Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday all seem to be very much the same. I got the same score each time. Well, there's kind of a quibble on one question there, but I got the same score each time, and a lot of other people got the same score within a couple of points if they were taking all 3 of them for fun or whatever. They all seem to get pretty similar scores in there. My particular score was, as far as I could tell, 42 each day, and I personally thought that all 3 of them were easier than other tests that I took. I remember last year I got about 40 on the tests that I was taking for fun, but on the test that I was taking for real, I barely got 35. So this year I was kind of surprised that it seemed to me that all 3 of them were similar kind of difficulty level.
Okay. Now we have another question. I suspect there may be one of us in this panel who might have an answer easier than the others, but this one is from @EmmettPlant. Who would have done better on the online tests this week? James T. Kirk or Jean-Luc Picard? I'll go to Jerie to start on this one.
Well, yes. As Emmett knows, Emmett's a huge Picard fan, so he knows Picard always beats Kirk. So thank you, Emmett. I know you're a big Picard fan.
So do we have agreement that Picard would beat Kirk on this one?
Picard would beat Kirk at everything. Come on. Let's be honest.
I don't know. Kirk's had more women.
Well, okay, that one thing, maybe.
Okay. Now, what surprised you the most about the online? What surprised everyone the most about the online test?
For me, I guess the biggest surprise was seeing on the Jeopardy Facebook page and to a lesser extent on JBoard how a lot of people had problems with it. I guess one of my decision for writing it on Thursday kind of helped because I see people had problems. So what I did was I went on Chrome instead of my usual Safari. I made sure to log in plenty of time early and all that. But I think that they were doing the mechanics of it differently this year than other years. I quite remember the mechanics of it, but apparently it's different this year than other years, and that might be why some people are having problems, and that was what surprised me, the number of problems that people are having.
Mm-hmm. Any other surprises on the online test? I mean, I guess I could say I was surprised that I did not have a before and after question on my online test on Tuesday.
We had one on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I saw that, but I
I
didn't
remember
see
there
one
was
on...
one, but yeah, there weren't that many word plays at all.
No.
Not that I can recall, anyway. Not that many word plays.
I was surprised they published all the questions online afterwards, because in the past they never did that.
On Jeopardy's website, or where did they publish
On
them?
On their Facebook page.
Oh.
On their Facebook page, yeah, that's a good one. Yeah,
Like immediately after each test?
Yeah.
And it was like immediate. Like I finished the test and went to their Facebook,
Okay.
and it was already, the questions were there.
I'm surprised though that they didn't put up the answers.
Yeah. Which led to a bunch of funny comments, though. It was worth it.
I'm genuinely surprised they took the trouble to put the questions up, but they didn't take the trouble to solve all the arguments that are going around about, oh, where can we find the answers? And somebody links to JBoard. Oh, well, maybe this isn't correct or not. But then maybe it might be because that there might be a valid alternate answer to a question,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't want to say that this answer is the be all and end all. But I still say it might have been a good idea to put the answers up too.
Maybe if they're listening, they can deal with that in future years.
I'd like to think that they are.
But,
Terrence, how did this test compare for you compared to the Sports Jeopardy test?
Well, I mean, sports is obviously is kind of my wheelhouse, so I feel pretty confident in most of that. It was definitely more difficult. In response to the earlier question about was this test easier than most past tests, I don't have anything to compare that to, but I also don't want to insult myself by saying it was easy because I didn't hit the 35 number. But I don't know. I found the Sports Jeopardy one to be I was a little more confident and kind of carefree going into it. I think just because I felt good about my knowledge base with that, whereas it's just such a wider range of knowledge you need to take a test like this. I wouldn't say I was nervous, but I was a little antsy when I was taking it and trying to kind of tally my score in my head as I was going, and it felt like more pressure than the sports one. The sports one they were going through, and I felt great the whole time on that.
The same thing happened with me.
Yeah. And there goes one of my questions.
Oops.
Well, no problem. After taking the online test, is there anything that you consider studying before next year?
Everything American, all about the Americans. Yes, it was crazy. There's so many. I think I counted because I was a bit bitter after. I was like, all those American questions. And there was like 8 questions on Tuesday and 8 questions on Wednesday, which were quite specific about like American geography or history or politics or whatever, the type of things you do not learn in school in Canada. So
yeah. Speaking of the Canadian, I would definitely agree with you there, Jerie. And I'm kind of wondering why they do that, because most of the people who go on are American, and this is Jeopardy. I mean, this is one of the top trivia shows. They want to ask something that's a bit hard. I would think Canadian questions would be a bit. I don't think they had a single Canadian question this entire week on the test.
They had one.
The last Canadian question on the test.
They had one Canadian question.
Which one was that?
It's like in 1999, this territory.
The Nunavut one. The
Nunavut one. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's it, I think.
Yeah, they should have had more Canadian questions just to make the harder.
Or easier for us.
I'm sure every American knows bad. The capital guy,
Now, speaking of, I guess, the singular Canadian question on Wednesday, did anyone have a favorite question from the test that they wrote? I know my favorite question. The last one on Tuesday's test, there was the question 50. It asked what part of speech the words
between and
They're prepositions, right?
yeah, exactly. Jeopardy prepositioned everyone.
oh.
The best part of that was on Facebook.
That was
like,
question
literally
50. I'll have to look for that one.
Every part of speech got guessed by people on Facebook. People were like, verbs? Was it verbs? I was like, no.
No, it was a
Parts of speech is one of my worst things. So.
Well, see, the thing is, I was very happy to see that question because of the punchline of the joke. My horrible pickup lines punchline has to do with prepositions, so I was very happy to see that that question come up on the test. Now,
my favorite was the KFC question, Yum Brands. I thought that was very smart.
Yeah,
I like that one.
What about did David or Terrence have a favorite question?
Can't remember them all.
Yeah, I'm trying to run through them.
Yeah.
And I got to try not to get them mixed up because I took the Tuesday and Wednesday ones just kind of for practice. I got to remember which was actually what I took and which was the nights before. There was one, I don't think it was on Thursday's test. It was it was like you mentioned the before and after, the Catherine the Great Gatsby one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
That was,
like
that was Wednesday.
And that was just a good lesson in read the category because I first looked at it and I was like, Captain the Great, wait, what are they asking here? And then I looked up at the category. I was like, oh, wait, Captain the Great Gatsby. Okay. Just in
Before and
time.
after are always a treat.
Yeah.
I guess my favorite question is if you've been on JBoard and you've seen my discussion of the Thursday test, I'm kind of beating a dead horse over whether post-bellum is acceptable for reconstruction.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah. Everybody's saying no, and I'm kind of enjoying saying that post-bellum is correct, even though every single person is saying no. So I think that's making it my favorite question, just because I'm enjoying.
What was the question?
Why? First of all, why would post-bellum be correct for the era between 1865 and
1877 now?
Yeah.
Because it's after the war.
Yeah, that's nice. It's after the war, but it's also known specifically in American history as Reconstruction. So.
Yeah, no, I do see, and I understand why Reconstruction is the correct answer and that post-bellum isn't, but I'm enjoying just saying, oh, no, post-bellum is correct. So.
No, it's not.
But no, I understand why. I understand why Reconstruction is. So I guess that's why it's making it my favorite question, if I had to choose.
Now, something I'd like to actually ask the panel, with regards to actually something that happened this week on the show with Alex, Jacob, and Scott Blish playing each other, knowing each other before taping. How would you feel if you got onto the show and one of your opponents was somebody that you knew from before taping?
I don't think it matters anymore because, like in the TOC, they know each other before they play each other, So I think it's just a moot point now, and I think they realize that.
Yeah.
I think it would be a lot of fun. It brings out extra competitiveness, right?
Yeah.
It depends on who it is. I mean, there are people that are in places like Lunar League, in the top echelons of trivia, that I know I do not want to face on Jeopardy, and I would try to make every excuse not to. But on the other hand, I kind of liked. I've already seen today's show, so I won't give any spoilers. But I liked how at least you could tell that those two at the end, when everybody's shaking hands, they really seem that good job, and they're shaking hands, and I like that that friendship there.
Mm-hmm. By the way, sorry. Go
I
ahead.
kind of wish I would be up against somebody that I know. It just makes it that much more fun.
Okay. By the way, for those of you who are missing the hockey game, it is now Ottawa 1, Montreal 1.
Oh,
But yes, Pacioretty just scored, I believe, for Montreal to tie the game.
Boo.
What are we talking about now? The game?
We're talking about hockey.
Oh, okay.
There's three Canadians here, so we got to talk about hockey.
Yeah. Now, as a kind of a corollary to that first question, how would you feel if you were the third player and your two opponents knew each other?
oh.
That last one kind of, I'd say, is courtesy of Ben Wiles, by the way. That he brought that up after my editorial earlier today about how would you feel if you were the third person and the other two players knew each other.
They're not going to team up against you, so I don't know what's the difference.
If anything, I think I would like it because they'd be worrying about each other, and maybe you could kind of slip in there a little bit. I don't know, but yeah, I don't think it could have any adverse effect on you.
Okay.
Going back to, I just realized something. Going back to your previous question about how you'd feel if somebody that you knew was on there. Again, playing online trivia in something like London League, when I play against somebody that I know, I find it a bit harder for me too, because I know their weaknesses and I know more about them than if I play a random stranger on London League. But I'm wondering if the third person in Alex and Scott's game knew that they knew each other.
That is he's actually going to be on our panel tomorrow night, so that's something we may ask him.
Yeah, I would very much like to know the answer to that.
Now, Jerie, I haven't really heard much of an opinion out of you on either of these questions. I mean, what would you think if you were playing against somebody that you knew? Your audio isn't on.
I can hear you now.
Oh, we can hear you now. Okay.
My mistake. I said I think it would be really fun, actually. I mean, trivia.
Oh,
is
Jerie?
when you
Okay.
Play with friends. Why not?
Yeah, something's funky with the audio today.
Are you guys hearing me okay?
Yeah, we are hearing you now.
hear you.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Okay. Now another news item. Buzzer Blog actually was reporting earlier today that based off some information that they got from the Sony leak, that Anderson Cooper is the next likely host of Jeopardy after Alex Trebek retires. Now, say it takes a little while before you get on Jeopardy. How would you feel if Anderson Cooper was to host and your host?
What I'd like to do is I'd like to
Are you asking everybody?
I'm asking everybody.
I like Anderson Cooper.
I'd
I
like
think he'd
to
make
be
an
on-
excellent host.
Yeah.
Of course, I've been on already, so.
I'd like to be on the last Alex Trebek game and be the returning champion and be on the first Anderson.
I don't know if maybe you couldn't hear me.
That would be
No, we
glorious.
We heard you, Jeanie.
Honestly, I'm surprised. I thought Dan with Sports Jeopardy, he does an unbelievable job. I was kind of hoping that it would leak more, that he would hopefully take over. I know he's probably not as young as Anderson Cooper, but I thought Dan was great at Sports Jeopardy. Maybe Terrence could also, his opinion.
I thought Dan was great. I do think he was perfect for Sports Jeopardy. I hadn't heard the Anderson Cooper thing. I think he would be very good to succeed Alex. I think Dan would be great, but I think he's definitely got a different style than Alex, so it would maybe be a little bit of an adjustment period.
Dan is good, but he's more suited to Sports Jeopardy, I think. Yeah.
I do agree with that.
Yeah, he's definitely a name in sports, whereas I would say Anderson Cooper is more of a name in general knowledge. So, Now, Jerie, I've noticed that. Sorry, go ahead, David.
I was just asking, how old is Anderson Cooper? Do you know?
I'm not sure. Okay,
Maybe
back
it's
to my
raised,
question.
yes.
Perfect segue, because you've just lifted a bottle to your mouth, and you're obviously having some fun with what are you choosing to partake in? I think you've taken the lead of people like Ben Ingram and Mark Dawson.
I have, yes.
Enjoying some beverages on our panel. So what are you choosing tonight?
Following in the footsteps of the greats, yes. I have a brew by Amsterdam Brewery, which is Toronto craft brewery, and it is a raspberry beer, which is not usually my my go-to, but it's really good. It's fantastic.
No word from our sponsor.
I promise they only paid me a small fee.
And while you have selected a Toronto beer this evening, I have selected an Ottawa beer myself, or an Ottawa area beer, Beau's Brewery, Lug Tread. A personal favorite. It's becoming almost my beer of choice these days. I'm quite enjoying all of that stuff. I actually had to miss a Beau's tasting in Guelph on Wednesday because of a show, but I told my friend, let somebody else fall in love with that brand. So
they make great beer. Yeah.
Okay. Does anyone wish they'd taken the test on a different night?
Yes, Tuesday.
Thursday.
Oh, really? I don't know anything about Thursdays. How was that?
It seemed normal to me. I mean, I got one question more on Wednesday and Thursdays playing off Facebook than I did on Tuesday night, but
Yeah, I was within 3 points on each night, so I don't think it was a big difference either way.
In here.
I might have had a different response that I failed on Tuesday and passed the other two, but
Well, that was my reaction last year when I got over 40 on both of the tests that I did for fun on Tuesday and Wednesday, and then I got 35 on Thursday last year. But I think also one of the things I did on last year was, as soon as the test came on, I'm like, oh my God, I'm taking it for real, and I kind of froze through the first 2 or 3 questions. So
I was just gonna say,
not to do that this year.
I wonder, so when I took Tuesday's test as like I didn't actually take it. I tried to recreate like the real test scenario as much as I could, and like give myself 15 seconds, and be very question by question. But I wonder how much you can really know, like how well you would have done. Because like you're saying, like there's a lot of pressure when you're actually taking the test.
Yeah. But that's a good idea to recreate the circumstances as much as possible.
Yeah.
It was a very different feeling though. Like I took the Tuesday and Wednesday test for practice, like using the YouTube video they put on Jboard. So it was within the 15 seconds and everything, and I was just writing them down on a piece of paper, and it felt a lot more free and easy than when I was taking it for real on Thursday. The pressure, I don't know if you could really replicate that when you're just doing it for practice.
Yeah.
I definitely felt some more stress on my own actual test day. So I was at some of my friends were in the other room, and apparently they were laughing at me, telling me that I needed to stop cursing under my breath.
You might have to control that if you make it on the show, Andy.
Oh, I know that. I'm aware of my.
Maybe not. I mean, some fun television there.
You'll be a fan favorite. Yeah.
There was a guy in the Sports Jeopardy episode that taped immediately after mine that was just, he was so demonstrative. Like when he'd get beat on the buzzer, like he would throw his hands up and he like slammed down. And so he did make for good TV. He was entertaining, even if he wasn't, I don't know, wasn't the most classy play.
I'm pretty sure Rebecca Ryder dropped a swear or two during her run. She certainly doesn't have the capability of staying off the swears when she's tweeting, that's for sure. But okay, I'm just going to check once again. We don't have any other questions from the general audience. If anyone does have a question for our panel tonight regarding the online test, you've got a few minutes left. Tweet us at using hashtag Jeopardy Live Panel to ask us something. But do you guys have questions for any of the other panelists?
I have a question.
Of course.
Okay, so in my online test, there was one question that still Facebook has yet to agree on what the correct answer is.
Okay.
So I need to know if I got this right. Okay, so the category is nuclear physics, And the question is, the central part of a nuclear reactor, it's where the fuel is. What
Core.
would be an acceptable
Core.
answer? Is core right?
Yeah, that's
That
it.
would be-
That's what they're
Sure.
saying with J-board too, and there's no debate about it. Have you gone to
Okay.
J-board to check the answers there?
No,
Rich?
I didn't even realize they were. I mean, I should have realized, but I haven't looked on Jboard yet.
Mhm.
I've only looked on Facebook.
So I'm thinking that because you said core.
Yes, I said core, but
That's
I had,
correct.
I
Oh
was
yeah,
kind of
that's
just a
correct.
blind
Yes,
guess, and then
that's what I said too. So please
Wait a
don't tell me
second.
something else.
So that makes your. Well, so hold on a second. Knowing what your goal was beforehand and knowing how close you came, does that mean
that
you
brings
made
me
your
to
goal?
my goal. Yeah, woo, core. Cheers to core.
Okay.
It's great.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Oh, she
Thank you
came
very
to
much.
what? What did I miss?
You missed. No, we were just discussing one of the answers on her test, and she thought she had come one short of the goal she had set for herself. Instead,
Oh, okay.
because she gave what turns out to be a correct answer on one of the questions she wasn't sure of, she made her goal.
Oh, okay.
I have to head off. Thanks all for your time. Appreciate it. Thanks, Andy.
Thanks for being able to join us, Stephen. I appreciate it.
Thank
so
you.
Thanks,
much.
Steve.
Have a good one.
So I
Me
guess
too.
my question that I have, I know Andy and Jeannie's answer this, but Jerie and Terrence, was this your first time taking the regular Jeopardy test?
It was first for me, yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Would you do it again?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Until I get on.
I was just going to say, hopefully you don't need to take it again because you'll get on your first try, but who knows?
Who knows? Let's put it this way. 2005, 2006, a pair in 2007, 2008, 2010.
Oh yeah,
I
a
need
lot
the
of
second
people
hand.
have made their dues. I know VJ
Mhm.
Balsey was what 20 years for VJ, something like that. I remember it was some ridiculous amount of time, and he just shredded it in his games. So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously,
I guess that's another piece of advice for for all of you, except for of course Jeanie. I mean, don't fret if you don't hear from them because it could and usually does take a while.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to fret because I know I didn't make that magic 35 number. But at the same time, I mean, obviously, I'd want to get on now. Would be awesome. But I feel like I've got a long way to go. I've got some weak areas. I'm usually lousy with Bible stuff, art history stuff. I'm lousy on. So I feel like if I can, I don't know, give it a try each year and try to build upon those weaknesses, turn them into strengths, I'd have a better shot going forward. So, no, I'm looking forward to trying it again in the future for sure.
Good. And you made 35 now, Jerie? Was that one correct?
God no. God no. Made 35.
Oh, I thought that was your goal, 35.
Lol. No,
Perfectly
definitely not.
mediocre was the goal, right?
Perfectly mediocre. Yes, that one put me just to mediocre, so that's great. Yeah.
Okay.
No. Yeah, it was fun though. One thing I wonder, like, so everyone who passes doesn't necessarily get called for whatever, an interview or audition or whatever. No. What are the factors that determine who gets called and who doesn't? Does anyone know?
As far as I've been told, it's random draw.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
So
that's
that
what I've heard too. So it doesn't matter if you get 35 or 46 or 50. Everybody who passes is random draw.
Huh. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I would encourage you guys to try for Sports Jeopardy because I asked Maggie after the tapings were done how it works. Like, are we allowed on the regular show? And if so, does anything work different for us? And she said that if we were to take the online test and pass that, just let her know and she'd make sure we got an in-person interview. So that could give you a little bit of a shortcut maybe if you were to get on Sports Jeopardy. So.
Mm-hmm.
However, if I took the Sports Jeopardy test, I would probably have the same reaction that Jerie just had taking the regular test. Oh, hell no, I'd have to strive for mediocrity because sports is not my thing at all.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, seeing no other questions from the general populace and seeing no further questions from the panel, does anyone else have any other questions? I think my only
Well,
other
let me
sorry,
ask
go
you,
ahead. Go ahead.
where did you put for your audition? If you made the audition, I know three. Actually, all the Canadians left, so you guys have a bit of a hike. Where did you choose to go if you made it?
Good,
Well,
good question.
Boston, I think.
I actually picked Kansas City because it's a city that I haven't been to. It's a city I'd like to visit. And it's a, I thought for some reason it would have a fewer number of auditionees or, people looking to go there. So I'm tired of picking, a big location that everyone else is picking and not getting an audition from it. So.
Unfortunately, Andy, I also picked Kansas City, so it's not as unpopular as you think it is. Living out here in Winnipeg, nothing is close for any ever. I usually do jumping jacks of joy when I see Minneapolis come up because it's a day's drive away from me. 8 hours. I'm doing cartwheels. So I mean, when you live in Winnipeg, beggars can't be choosers. Kansas City is the closest one to me. It's 2 hours. It's straight down I-29. Wow. I-29 enters Canada right by Winnipeg. So it's technically the closest one to me. So I figured, well, I'll choose Kansas City. And yeah, it's a place I haven't been either.
I hope it doesn't backfire on you guys. It'll be a huge influx of Canadians going to Kansas City, and it'll end up being like the most popular test.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I don't know. To be honest, I just have a good feeling about this year. So I just have that good feeling. So
do I. I mean, I got the highest score I've ever had this year. So.
Well, good luck to you guys. I hope you get the call.
I hope so too.
You too.
Thanks.
Well, yeah. Well, you might.
Okay. Well, it is now 2-1 Montreal. Subban just scored.
Subban. No, you shouldn't even be playing right now. Anyway.
That's the topic. Andy? Second period. 3 minutes to go in the second. So I'd like to thank everyone, all of you guys, for talking about your experiences writing the online test. And yes, to everyone, best of luck in hopefully getting a callback audition. And once again, tomorrow night we have quite a panel lined up, including Scott and Scott and Nikhil from today's show.
Yeah.
So we've got two people from today's show, as well as June Pock, likely Drew Sheeler, and the unrelated Brandon Saunders. So
that should be a great show.
We've got a great panel lined up. Hopefully, lots of Fight Club references, as were my tweets earlier today about today's show. But I'd like to thank everyone for coming out to discuss and also ask us questions and also give your discussions. So hopefully we'll be able to have you guys on the panel again. Once again, thank you. Say goodbye to everyone. David, Jeanie, Terrence, and Jerie.
Bye, everybody. Thank you for having me.
So once again, thanks for tuning in for the JeopardyFan.com. Let me just bring up the credits, which is always nice and fun and important. Okay, thank you guys all for tuning in. Have a great night.